Georgia State football makes it 2 in a row back from Coastal Carolina with a 27-21 win over the Chanticleers. We're talking Panther football today on the show with head coach Sean Elliott and Penny Hart. Hi again, Panther fans, and welcome into this week's Georgia State Sports Update. Dave Cohen joined here in the first segment by head football coach Sean Elliott. A little later on, we're going to speak with wide receiver Penny Hart. Lot to talk about this week, Coach. Back from Myrtle Beach and Conway, South Carolina. Another win in your back pocket, 27-21 in the Sun Belt Conference opener over the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. It's 2 in a row now, and the Panthers are 2-2. But right now playing pretty good football.
Yeah, you know, we are. It was a great win for our football team. We went down and, you know, to get it started off like we did with the opening kickoff return for a touchdown was very nice. And, you know, to come back and have a defensive stop and propel and just, you know, the way we had to win the game. I mean, it wasn't pretty there in the late third and early fourth quarters, but, you know, we had to go out and solidify it offensively with a long drive for a touchdown and then get that first down at the end of the game, which is, you know, it's something very, very tough to do there with 3 timeouts, and you got to go get that first down. So really pleased with what we've accomplished, you know, in that ball game, and gives us some momentum heading to our second conference game.
Well, again, as you were telling us on the post-game radio show, you said it wasn't pretty, but it's a win, and you'll take it. And you know what? Years down the line, they're going to look back and just know that it was a win, and they're not going to remember all the details except for maybe Glenn's 90-yard return on the opening kick.
Yeah, you know, listen, I don't care how it is. I mean, a win is certainly what we're striving to get. We want to execute better, of course, but, you know, at the end of the day, that's what they're going to remember you by, is how many you won and how many you lost, and that's a win. So we must play a little bit better than they did.
So Georgia State, again, back-to-back wins now at Charlotte and then the off week and then at Coastal Carolina. And, you know, the nice thing about these two ball games is quick starts, good early, you know, well, Charlotte, we didn't score until the second quarter, but neither did they. Yeah. But playing with the lead as opposed to playing from behind and having to, you know, change your game plan a little bit. When you're playing with the lead, you can do what you do and kind of settle into a routine. Yeah,
you know, playing with the lead's always especially good. Your players don't tense up a little bit. You're free flowing as far as your game plan, calling the game, and it's always great. So we'd like to do that each and every game and continue to do that. And if we can get Penny Hart, the offense and defense and the special teams right, we should be doing that more often.
Again, we'll talk about Penny here coming up on the show. Again, let's go back to that opening kick, and Glenn returns it, you know, 90 yards for the touchdown. And just like that, out of the gate, there's excitement on the field and on that sideline.
There is. You know, the opening kickoff for a touchdown is, in my experience, has always been a bad thing, because every time I've had one returned or we've returned one, we've ended up losing or something to that effect. So when we returned it, I stayed pretty even keel on the sideline. All right, guys, just hang on. We got to go out and play this game, because it tends to get you a little bit more emotional than what you should start a game off. But I will certainly take it, and I'm glad we changed the course of history with that one.
And, of course, we talked about Glenn right here on the show last week, and, you know, Mr. Everything. Yeah. He ends up with 23 carries, nets out at 74 yards. He also caught 3 passes.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he's a do-everything guy. You know, we'd like to see him a little bit better in the pass game, like to see him a little bit better in the run game. But, I mean, he does everything very good. And just, you can count on him. You can certainly count on him. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. We feel like we can hand the ball off to him. He can catch the ball very well out of the backfield and then play in the wide receiver position. And then you saw what he can do in the return game.
Yeah, Penny Hart had a touchdown reception from 7 yards out as well in that first half, and Cuyler Neil had a 3-yard run. You go into the locker room at halftime with a 21-7 lead. Yeah, we felt
pretty good going into the locker room. We had done about everything we wanted to do. I mean, controlled the game right there. Defense was really well, except for the one drive. And you know, when you go back in and you just tell the defense, you say, listen, it's 21-7. You keep doing what you're doing, and there's no way they're going to win the game.
Right. Again, talking to Georgia State's head football coach Sean Elliott here. You come out in the second half, and they made it a little bit interesting.
We probably made it more interesting than they did.
But, you know, that's one of those character-building second halves that maybe in hindsight is going to be a good experience for this football team.
It really is. I mean, just like us offensively. I mean, we've got it, 1st and 2 on the 2 right there. And end up getting no points. We ended up having a bad snap and a missed field goal. You get no points. That would have put you up 24-7, and you'd have felt really good. But you turn it right around right there, and they come back and they score in, 4 plays, something like that, and take it down very, very quickly. Momentum shifts, and then things start to get a little bit hairy, but our team stayed strong and focused, and we ended up putting 2 more scores in. They had 1 come back fairly quickly, but it was a good test for our football team. Yep. You know, and a lot of times teams like that will let the momentum get the best of them.
Right.
And it'll keep snowballing.
Another big play in that second half, which set up the DeMarcus Kirk 4-yard touchdown run, was the big pass from Connor to Ari Wirtz.
It really was.
That was a big-time play.
Sure it was. And, throughout the course of the day, they were actually playing true zero coverage on us. And they were playing bare front, and they were bringing the blitz and rolling the free safety down. So when we slipped Ari out on the wheel route, it was feast or famine. Either they're covering it and we've got the pressure coming, or they don't. And he was wide open, and we'd like for him to see him put his head down and continue that thing on the end zone, but he ran a little bit straight up and got hawked there about whatever the yard line was. But it was a great play, and Ari's a great guy, and he's fun to be around, so it was good to see him make a big play.
Well, he has his best day as a Georgia State Panther. He had 4 catches, 92 yards, 52 of those on that 1 play. Yeah. He's another one of the guys, when we were talking about guys like Penny and Todd Boyd getting the ball into the hands of your best playmakers, and certainly Ari's right there with them.
Yeah, and Dave, you're probably just like everybody else. You see the 4 catches, and that's his best day ever, you know. But Ari has actually become a pretty good blocking tight end. To tell you the truth. So, for a lot of guys out there, a lot of individuals, a lot of fans that don't actually pay attention to the line of scrimmage, he has to go in there and block as well. So we're equally as proud of him as his blocking is coming along as he is in catching those 4 passes, because, he's going to probably block 80% of the time, and those 4 receptions are probably what he's going to be remembered for. But he's got work to do in the trenches as well.
Yeah, well, Coach, on the radio, we got to follow the ball.
I'm just telling you.
And we don't get we're not able to go back and watch the film. But, so, we do kind of see it a little bit different. How about Cuyler Neil? Great to have him back. We kind of took a little bit of a step back only in total number of yards on the ground, but
we actually did. We didn't run the ball very well at all. And, up front, we didn't play very good. But what happened was Cuyler actually, on the very first kickoff return, pulls a hamstring.
Really?
So we get Cuyler back, and on the very first rep, he pulls a hamstring, very, very limited. He comes over to the sideline. We're asking him, can he go? Can he go? And he's like, I can go on short yardage situations. He said, I can't open up. And I was thinking, all right, well, I know that already, but we'll utilize you in short yardage situations. So, he gets in there, scores a touchdown, actually finishes the game knowing he has that tweak, and he's still dealing with that a little bit today.
Great to have him back. And, again, the last of the Alabama-Birmingham transfers, DeMarcus Kirk scores a touchdown as well. Which is nice.
Did, and that's a very interesting story, because Kirk comes in there in the second half because of Cuyler Neil, and I love Kirk to death, but on that goal line run, he bounces it outside on an inside zone run that we have down on the goal line that was kind of befuddled that drive, but bounces outside. Ari gets a holding call. Well, as a running back, you understand one thing. Inside zone, don't ever bounce it.
Yeah.
They were in a bare front, so he comes back to the sideline, and I'm all over him about, you don't ever do that. This is how you got to do it. And so, he gets his head down a little bit. I grab him up, and I kind of coach him through it. I say, listen, bare defense, you got to understand where the block's coming. It's going to hit the weak side tackle. And so we get him right back down there. Same scenario. They shift to the bare front. Here's a young man that just the previous play had gotten a holding call because he bounced it outside on the same look. Reads the defense, bounces it off the left tackle, goes in for the score to seal the victory. Yeah. And it just goes to show you that you can do it. You can coach these guys, and you can coach them hard, but if they pay attention, they're going to benefit. And it certainly was great to see him get in the end zone.
Yeah. All right, we're going to talk more with head football coach Sean Elliott as we continue right now. 27-21, a win on the road for Georgia State football at Coastal Carolina. Let's take a look at just some of the highlights. Back here in the Georgia State Sports Update with head football coach Sean Elliott. And, Coach, you were talking right before we went to the highlights about coaching them up. You were giving the example of, dealing with DeMarcus Kirk. And I guess, guys have got to be open to being coached in intense situations like that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a good example of, how you can go from one situation to the next, and the positive results are on the back end like they were in this instance.
Yeah, and he really didn't understand it when I brought him off there. He thought he'd done right because he actually bounced it outside and was going in to score a touchdown right there.
Yeah.
But you're going to get that hold call if you're running tight inside zone and you bounce that thing outside. So he was looking at me like I was kind of crazy when I was thinking, what are you doing? You don't ever bounce that thing outside. So I came back, I kind of explained this scenario to him, the front and everything that was happening. I said, just read the front. You see this front? This is where you need to go. And he understood it, and he came right back off the sideline. I said, I told you, this just pay attention. We're here for a reason.
Yeah. At this juncture, and again, we're only 4 games in, and you're in your first season with a brand new staff. How much teaching is still going on at this juncture?
Every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. You don't go out in 4 ball games and a preseason August practices and get everything you need. This is a work in progress. This entire season will be. Every single day there's something new that these coaches are going to learn from myself, and I'm going to learn from them as well, and these players are going to learn from their coaches. And there's certain things that these coaches are going to learn from the players.
Right.
It's an ever evolving process of how we're going to come to be successful, and we've all got to pay attention. We've all got to learn from one another.
I meant to ask you in that first segment, and again, we're going to talk to him here in the show in a little bit. Another big day for Penny Hart.
Yeah. That's the great thing about Penny. He shows up, he does his job, he wants the ball, he's competitive, fiery. He's in just the electricity that I see off of him generates the excitement for me. And he's a catalyst for our football team. So anytime he touches the ball, it's something to get excited about.
Yeah, 8 catches, 132 yards, 1 touchdown. That was the result of that 7-yard pass.
Yeah, we actually flipped that little touchdown pass to him. It's probably the easiest touchdown pass he's ever had.
Yeah, a little toss after the snap.
Yeah, we should have handed it off, got a little bit of rushing yards. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, how about your third down conversion rate? 8 out of 14 again.
Listen,
continuing drives.
I don't know if I ever want you to bring that up again. Last week you brought up the penalty situation, how we're leading the country, and then we go out and we have 6 penalties. So, that's something you're very proud of. We probably just don't need to talk about it, but we're proud of that.
Yeah. All right, lastly, I'll bring it up because we didn't talk about it last week.
Yeah.
Your red zone opportunities. Taking advantage when we're down inside the red zone. In this game, 3 out of 4.
Yeah, 3 out of 4. Should have been 4 for 4. If we kick the ball better, we're going to be really good in the red zone. And we feel like we've got a good red zone plan going into the games. But we've got to be able to put the points on the board. And that red zone opportunity, when you have it 1st and 2 on the 2 and you don't come away, then you got to look at yourself and ask some questions. Those were some penalty issues that we had right there. The holding call right there on the Ari, and then a formation alignment that we messed up on. A very, very unfortunate red zone opportunity that we didn't take advantage of.
On the road again this week to Monroe, Louisiana, and
right.
all of a sudden I kind of think they're the surprise of the Sun Belt at this early juncture of the season. But, in the last 3 games, which they've won, they've scored 56, 51, and 45.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah,
it's
scaring
really
a lot
scary.
of points.
And they are. They do a great job offensively. They've got good skill players. Their quarterback, it's a guy that they've made a change after the first game, and he's taken the reins and does an exceptional job with it. He throws the deep ball really well, but they're an RPO type offense. They want to run the football as much as they can, but they take advantage of big plays with their RPO game.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to slow them down.
I want to thank Georgia State's head football coach Sean Elliott. Coming up, we're going to talk to wide receiver Penny Hart right here on the Georgia State Sports Update. Penny Hart joins us right now on the Georgia State Sports Update. Again, the Panthers coming off a 27-21 win on the road against the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina. Penny, great to have you with us on the show this week, and congrats to you and the football team for picking up your second road win this past Saturday.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Again, for Georgia State, now 2-2 on the year, and it's great to be back to 500. And, you know, as Coach Elliott and I were talking about earlier in the show, it's great to get off to quick starts in these football games. The last two games up in Charlotte and last Saturday night in Conway, playing well or making, you know, big plays from the get-go in order to play with the lead as opposed to playing from behind.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better playing from ahead, but, you know, that's what we expect out of our offense, out of our defense, to come out strong. You know, our motto is start fast and finish strong, so that's what we expect to do every single game.
Yeah, and I know for you, you're happy to be back. It's like a kid in a candy store after everything that you experienced a year ago with the injury.
Right.
Just talk about all the work that went into that in the off season, and it's not just the physical part of getting back to the Penny Hart that everybody saw in 2015. It's the mental part of it, too, because it's tough to sit out with an injury like that. I mean, you were on the Ron Hunter scooter a lot at practice last year.
Yeah, it was tough. Definitely coming back and trying to get back in spring in the second day, breaking my foot again and having to sit out even longer. But I'm truly in touch with my spiritual life, and I believe that God definitely had a plan for me to just be able to allow me to sit and, rest throughout this whole period of time to be able to mentally and spiritually build me up to the person that I am now and continue to make me a better person from here on out, not just a better football player.
Yeah. Would you say that you're 100% or somewhere in that 90 to 95?
Yeah, 100% as far as health, most definitely, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be as a player, and as a team, we're nowhere near where we want to be. So we're definitely continuing to strive, as well as myself individually striving to get better each and every day.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of situations, it's a work in progress.
Right.
And, a tough loss in the opener, the Penn State trip. But, coming out of those two games, this team is definitely headed in the right direction. Most
definitely. And Coach Elliott has definitely, put us in the best positions. During camp, it was tough. He talked about it a long time ago, as the season began, that he was going to put us in the toughest positions, and he does that every single day so that when we get to those games, it's a lot easier for us.
Yeah. Well, your last two games, you had 11 catches, I think 140 yards and the touchdown in the win at Charlotte. And again, coming off an 8-catch, 132-yard, one-touchdown performance on Saturday night at Coastal Carolina. Connor Manning's getting that ball in your hands, and you're making things happen.
Yeah, we're hitting the groove a little bit, but we're still trying to get better each and every day. A lot of people might not like what I'm saying as far as what the numbers might look like, but I don't look at the numbers. I look at, each and every play, going back and film and looking at all the things that I might have did wrong that could have been better, that might have propelled me to be able to even have 200 yards or 300 yards or have an even bigger lead deficit over another team or make us an even better team. So that's what really matters.
Again, we're talking to Penny Hart here in the Georgia State Sports Update. We saw some highlights, highlight clips from the most recent game, or including the most recent game. Talk a little bit about what Coach and I were talking about earlier in the show, the quick toss as you go in motion to the other side. Hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, we've been working on that in practice that past week a lot. So I definitely knew it was going to be called, and it was a great call by Coach Trickett, being able to put us in the best position to score that touchdown. But it was a nice play. It felt good to get back in the end zone once again this game.
Satisfying to win, but there's something about winning on the road a little extra special, isn't it? I mean, do you feel like this team has, in that you were out most of last year and had a pretty good 2015 or most of 2015, this team's got a lot to prove?
Yeah, most definitely. We have an edge about ourselves when we go on the road that, when we go on the road, no one likes us. No one cares about us, and that's how we like it. When we go on the road, we want to be able to have it be family night or homecoming or whatever it may be, so that, they can go home at the end of the day knowing that they just took a beating. And, it was a tough loss for them, whoever we might end up playing. So that's our goal. And when we go out on the road, and we just want to be the toughest team out there.
Yeah. Penny, you and I were talking on the radio last week about, I guess, cliche-ish, it's leadership. But when you came in, Robert Davis was one of the guys that you looked up to. Of course, he's in the NFL right now at the Washington Redskins. Now, I guess you're one of the elder statesmen within the core of receivers, and you got the younger guys, the Jonathan Ifedis, the guys that that are looking up to you, for your leadership and your guidance. Tamir Jones, the freshman out of Norcross.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that I was prepared for, coming in, because I feel like, you're either destined to be a leader or you're not. You might have a few qualities of leadership, but some people are really destined to be leaders and, have those people that follow behind them. And I understand that as a person that, being on this team, I have a voice and, the things that I do that a lot of people look at. So I want to just be the best leader I can possibly be, being what I was taught from Donovan and Nick Arbuckle and Robert. So I just try to do the best of my ability to do that.
Yeah, not so much a chip on your shoulder, but, you were not heavily recruited coming out of Kings Ridge. You should have been, and it's been a blessing, and it's been great for Georgia State. But, does that stick kind of in the back of your mind every time you take the field?
I don't necessarily have a chip on my shoulder. It's more like a boulder, probably even two on both of my shoulders, because I felt, definitely coming out of high school, you're wondering what's going on and wondering why you aren't getting looked at here and there. But, I definitely believe that God had a plan for this. And this is something that I never trade for anything. Being at State is one of the best opportunities that I've had, to be able to have a great future for the rest of my life.
Yeah, Sun Belt Conference Freshman of the Year back in 2015, and great to have him healthy back here in 2017. Talk a little bit about your experience at Georgia State, what you're studying on the academic side of things, and what you're looking to do here in the next couple of years.
Well, I'm looking into exercise science right now. That's my major. So I want to go into personal training or possibly even, doing strength and conditioning. Coach Sop has already told me that he'd hire me. So we'll see where that takes me after I graduate. But I definitely want to, stay around football, stay around, training and, keeping my body intact as well as others. But definitely staying around the game of football.
Yeah. How about the experience of being a student at Georgia State, being right smack in downtown Atlanta?
It's amazing. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's always something to do. And it definitely helps you grow up a little bit more, because you have to be a lot more responsible, hold yourself a lot more accountable for the things that are around you. But it's an amazing experience. It, definitely helps you, understand where you are as a person.
All right, Penny, continued success. Let's go to Monroe, Louisiana, hand them their first Sun Belt Conference loss, and keep it going.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, I want to thank Georgia State wide receiver Penny Hart joining us here in the Georgia State Sports Update. Right now we're going to kind of transition and talk a little court volleyball. The Georgia State women's court volleyball team, they actually were in Conway, South Carolina this weekend, same time as the football team was. Unfortunately, they lost a 5-set match. But right now, let's take an inside look at Sally Paul Hamus and the Georgia State women's court volleyball team.
Here we go. So we're a young team. We don't have any seniors. We have 7 freshmen, but all of our players have great experience. Our sophomores, many of them had starting positions last year, same with our juniors. And so the freshmen are the only ones that are catching up to speed. And the first half of the season, you can definitely see our freshman mistakes. But this weekend was huge for us. We just talked about it in our pre-practice talk, that we had a lot of composure this year or this weekend. And so it's managing our emotions throughout a set. No matter what the scoreboard reads, we stay consistent. And that was our big focus for the weekend.
And that's the biggest thing. We've constantly got to attack our opponent. We've got to attack their defense. We've got to be aggressive in our serve. We've got to be thinking one step ahead of that volleyball.
One of the changes I've made is mindset. So not necessarily any physical changes, but more of how I'm preparing before practice, how I review film before games, and just getting mentally ready for the game.
So we knew we were going to be young coming in, and that we have to take care of the controllables. And with a new team, especially a young team, understanding that you can't control the refs and you can't control the opponent, but you can control your attitude, your effort, your mentality, your composure.
You have to know that you're that good, and you have to know that you're able to do it, and so don't let that self-talk bring you down, but use your team to build you up. It's key.
think, yeah, this year's a lot more fun. We're having more of a growth and process mindset, and so we're not focused on the wins or losses. We're focused on how well we can do and how well we can play for our teammates.
This year, definitely we have a lot more talent this year, and so a greater chance of doing bigger things with this team this year. And we're a young team, so a lot of time to grow and develop.
So not only is the college game more physical, faster, so you have that to overcome, but if you're a setter, you have running a whole offense, seeing the block on the other side, knowing what your hitter's best hits are. If you have a middle, you have identifying what the offense on the other side of the net is doing, staying balanced. So each position gives different obstacles, and our freshmen have definitely stepped in and stepped up. So you can see multiple freshmen starting for us, and it's great because I can look at our roster and I feel very comfortable starting anyone on our team.
We're all equal, and so it's fun to interact and learn together and grow together. And so it's really exciting to have a young team.
We've got to know that there is not a single team in this conference that we can't beat, and that we've got to go after them from every part of the game. So when you're in here, go for your line. Stop. Yeah.
So the Sun Belt, anyone can win the Sun Belt Conference. It is wide open.
Conference champion all the way.
So Georgia State football back on the road this week. Will be in Monroe, Louisiana, Saturday night or Saturday evening, 5 o'clock Eastern time kick, 4:30 with the pregame show if you're with us on the radio. I want to thank our guests today, as always, Georgia State's head football coach Sean Elliott and to wide receiver Penny Hart. I'm Dave Cohen for the entire crew. Thanks for watching. We'll see you right here next week on the Georgia State Sports Update.